Okay. Okay, good morning, traders. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I guess a few people will still be coming in. Hey, how are you? Am I coming through okay? I'm pretty sure the sound is good. Always have to check that. Jason, how are you, mate? All right, let's get up and racing. US was strong again last night. You could see it creeping into the action yesterday. Well, creeping in. It was pretty much markets opened weak yesterday. So we are talking about this in the stream yesterday, the 12:30 stream. So for anyone that doesn't know, anyone that's new, Um, we do on Mondays we do a longer streams for about an hour or so where we look at the major movers, what could be moving the action, just recapping things, any trades we have going, and then we just open it up to discussion on potential trades, potential opportunities. Now we mainly discuss an ASX, but we've been looking at the Aussie, some currencies and bits and pieces as well. So if you want to join in that, that's it. Just come to the YouTube channel. It'll be streamed through there at 12:30 on a Monday. It's Sydney time. So the rest of the time, I just want to go through the playbook, which is just what's happened from the overnight action, from last night or the previous night. What's the major movers? What's buoying the action? Um, and like I was saying yesterday, there was sort of some negativity around from the open, and it was talk up in the weekend. You've got virus cases going up. The news is just continually saying everyone's concerned about virus, but the problem is the prices are not showing the concern. Prices are going up no matter what. So it's gapped down in the open when you retail open the market, and then it was getting bought up. So this is the Dow, you can see, getting bought up all session. All right, I'm pretty sure you can see that okay. Let me just check. Yeah, so mouse bottom left-hand corner, the Dow getting bought up all session. The Aussie, same sort of thing. It just got buoyed open weaker. Anything that was sort of a risk nature. So the Aussie's a risk on, it's a risk asset. So that's been going up with equity. So that gap down on the open, as there was a bit of a risk off on the open, but that was it. It lasted for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then pretty much it was a one-way street after that. And we're up at the moment on the Dow. So it opened up in the US session. The US, look, it wasn't a crash hot session on the Dow. It was just a gradual grind higher. From the previous session was a gradual grind lower. It gapped up on the open on Friday and then grinded its way lower to finish in negative territory. And it was pretty much the reverse last night in the US. So you can see that Germany, it's the same sort of thing. They've got more cases. It's just that sort of thing. If they're looking towards lockdown, all traders are just looking for, okay, when's the next stimulus package coming on? Now, to me, that's going to have major long-term effects. I don't think the government's going to want to keep pumping stimulus into the market just to keep supporting it if they've got issues, because longer term, what is it? The debt to GDP is just getting out of hand. It's about twice. If you read the morning jumpstart, it's twice of what it was in the GFC in 2009, which is massive. And to come back from that, and pay your debt bills, it's just going to get harder and harder. So I wouldn't suspect we're going to go into lockdown. I think that's sort of off the cards. We're going to have to deal with it. Um, but that's what the talk is. It's how the cases, an increased number of cases, it's going to put pressure on the system. I think lockdown's what people are concerned about when we're coming out of lockdown to go back into it, like Victoria has. But at this stage, the markets are still, they're still bullish. Bulls are in charge. Okay, so we'll just go through the indices. So we've got the Dow. You can see longer term, that was that just before we had that sort of, not I wouldn't say flash crash, but that crash sort of out of the blue, took out quite a few buyers from this leg up, and it's still stuck in this longer term channel. If I can make that probably a 4-hourly chart. There we go. So we had the big sell-off, and we got this price action is basically stuck in a channel here on the way up, holding higher levels, pressing higher, pull back. So we've had basically this leg up, or major leg up, a correction, corrected sideways, and then we've had a secondary leg up. We've come into this zone here, just pushed through it recently, and now we're backing off to that zone. We've retested this sort of breakout level, I guess you can call it, on the Dow. Just flushed it out, set up a few sellers that were thinking that the world's ending again, and it was just the bottom end of the channel where it regained momentum and started to head higher. Now this looks on the 4-hourly chart looks very constructive. Okay, it looks like it's set to go again. I just want to take that off. Don't know why I can't get off. All right, we just have to do this, don't I? Remove. There we go. I've got a new keyboard and I can't figure it out. Okay, so we've had prices head higher, ticking its way up nicely. You've got the next level, if we sort of break out, which we're tending to look like we're going to do today, we break out of that contractive price action, then things could heat up fairly quickly. We'll just look at this now. So we're extending now. We are in overbought territory, but that's never stopped any of the bulls. We're hanging in overbought territory. The momentum is up. We may need to, it might pop up, have a bit of a pullback to flush out a few of these late buys for the session today, or it could just sort of chop around here and then we edge down in European session. I mean, it's going to be hard to tell. Europe had to catch up to the US from Friday night. Okay, so they were down last night, but now they're going to have to catch up again. So you probably expect Europe to be a bit stronger. So there might be a bit of strength into the open European session, and then may flounder. We might get some profit taking. It sort of looks a bit like this. It's come up into that resistance zone, edged its way higher. It's just a bit of a washout, and then it spikes lower. I mean, it's still held up. There's no real, for me, I guess, the anchor level's right down here. The key anchor level. We've had price, retest that low a couple of times now, and we've got a minor anchor level to the trend up would be, say, in here. So it's got quite a way it could pull back. That's a drop of, say, around 26,100 down to what, 800, that 3 to 350 points. It can drop easily and still maintain this current leg up. If it's going to hold here, if it's going to drop off, squeeze out a few of these late buys and then reset and go, I mean, it could easily do that. Now, we'll go over to, won't bother looking at the S&P. It's going to be much the same action. Big sell-off here, regain. It's consolidation at this level leads me to believe that we're heading higher. I mean, when the market sort of, you get this big push up, big flush down to the lows, push up. If it was negative, that should roll over. It should have had many chances to roll over, but instead it's consolidating, ready to go again. So any of these bears that have been selling on that grind down, prepped and ready to squeeze back out of the market. Okay, if we go over to XJO for the Aussies, that's not as convincing for me. The price action is not anywhere near as convincing as the US on the upside, but hey, it's the same sort of thing. That big push up, pull back, wash out a few. You've got this flush through the lows here, touch on these lows, bounce back up, and it's just stuck in a range at the moment. So, it's an each way bet. If you're looking at negativity, we could easily just, like we're pulling back here, we could easily just pull back, hold a higher level, and then go. It's probably not the best way to do it. Make that. Just make that a bit clearer. So we could easily pull back, hold a higher level then, and then go along with the US. If the US is going to go into pullback mode, okay, and then we're heading back up to these highs around above 6,000, 6,200, which is going to be a big effort. But either way, we're not looking at fundamentals. We're just looking at stimulus as support. And if that continues on, we don't go back into lockdown. Australia as a whole, Victoria's going sort of back into restrictions. The world doesn't, the US I wouldn't expect to, because, it's just going to really hurt them with all the problems they've got at the moment. So I think we continue to look at what's happening to the economy coming out of lockdown. All right, and as long as the numbers are starting to look okay, I think they're well and truly over factoring. We might be waiting. The US might be waiting for the next round of corporate reporting, and then just to see how they come out and what their projections are. They may leave their projections off the table because they're not going to be so good, but we'll see how that goes. If we get over to things like copper, gold, copper is pressing higher. Okay, so we're looking at this level around, we've spoken about, was it 2.625, thereabouts, this level, back here, which was previous highs just before the major correction, the major sell-off, and then we took out the highs with this washout, and then we started, holding below up until recently when it started to get buoyed, hold higher levels, and pop back up. So that's a good indication, well, a good sign that the market's still bullish, it's still risk on into equities. Risk onto equities means we're not going out of lockdown. All these sorts of factors, the economy is going to start getting back on track. There's going to be increased demand for things like copper, gold, copper, oil, things like that. So if we look at oil, same sort of scenario, it popped up, held above $40, which we're a bit concerned about yesterday. this chopping around, the way it rejected off there was quite savage, and then it held and then just took off. I mean, as the US dollar fell apart, which we'll look at in a second, US dollar fell apart, which pretty much everything was risk back on. So that was a bit of a concern. US dollar creeping higher. Potentially there was I was going to say safe haven into the US dollar, and they're worried about the market falling apart, but instead US dollar popped up straight back down again yesterday. So it spent all day yesterday, opened up stronger, and then bang, was sold off all day, like pretty much like everything else. The Aussie went up all day. Everything was up all day. Any sort of risk on product to any commodity or anything like that, which is risk on normally, was up all day, and the US dollar was sold off all day. So bit of a reverse in fortunes from the week before or Friday, but that's the way it is. So that's looking good. We got copper, gold. So gold is rejecting off these highs, which is the previous major high from back in May. Rejecting off those highs, but it's still holding higher levels. So the key higher level it's got to hold above is 1744. If we can hold here, it looks like we could easily just break out. We're forming a bit of a triangle here. You can see that, and at the moment, I'm not convinced that we're just going to pop out higher. I mean, if the US dollar starts to find some buying pressure again, then gold will probably roll over. It's been, it was a bit of a step up here. We had gold rally along with the US dollar, and then we had the extra push higher as the US dollar rolled over. So it was a bit of a setup. I think it was a bit of a squeeze on the bulls, the bears that have been setting up here. I was actually looking to go short in here. I thought this was a washout roll over, but it didn't play out. It just kept going up. So, I mean, we might be getting up to those highs. We might flush out, and in reverse, we may just keep going. At the moment, it's bullish. We're holding higher levels. So we'll see how that plays out later today. If we start to break up, it could be a trade on the upside, but it might be short-lived considering that, it might find some more pressure into the highs, or, like I said, just keep going. Aussie gold, not looking so crash hot. All right, so we've got just this recent action, but that might need to flush out a few buyers. But either way, that trend is up. It's not convincing, as in it looks more grindy, which may lead me to believe if the Aussie comes under pressure, that's obviously, that's going to take off, isn't it? Gold in Aussie dollar terms, if Aussie takes off, comes under pressure, Aussie dollar goes down, US dollar goes up, Aussie gold would start to rally. But then you probably find if the US dollar is going up, gold itself is coming under pressure. So it may be muted on the upside, but I still would expect, excuse me, for it to rally. But either way, that's holding the uptrend. We got anchors to the trend up is down here, so 2,500. We could be finding some support somewhere around this zone through here, 25, and then start to rally again. So keep an eye on Aussie gold for the Aussie gold miners. Now, we just spoke about the US dollar. US dollar's gapping down, so it's continuing that trend from the overnight. The weakness, you'd see that the Aussie dollar is actually pushing higher, breaking out. So I thought this may cap it, but we've had a minor pullback, held the higher low. So really, we're heading higher. We're looking up towards that 70 level again, up towards probably a touch below it, maybe 69.74 if this high comes into play. Otherwise, we're looking at to 70 cents, which is traded around and through a few times before the sell-off, reset, and we're going again. Okay, so bullish on the Aussie, still heading higher. It is stretched. The problem is this price action is quite flat. You can look at the MAs are quite flat, and that's 150 MA, I think, is flat. We might be getting ahead of ourselves. We might be due for a correction, so I'll be looking for a good pullback to see if it can stick and see if it can hold for a continuation on the upside. Dollar, look, it's just broken this trend up. It's breaking that, and it's broken that last night. Next, port of call could be down towards 96.48, which is a lot of room on the downside to mean that the Aussie's going to rally, Euro's going to rally, same sort of thing. So they're all US dollar based. Pounds going. Pounds more still in that downtrend. May not be for long if we can pump up through here. If we can get up to sort of that 125.50 zone, then I'd say that's broken out of that downtrend, and you'd be looking for the first decent pullback. Not these minor pullbacks. I find it hard to buy in a minor pullback like this when it's going up. I would prefer something, decent pullback just to flush out some of these buyers because it hasn't done that. It's going down, turn, it's gone straight back up. So I don't like that sort of longer term action. I'd rather see it go down, hold, retest a low, or hold a key higher low, and then go and buy into that. But it's just not giving me any action at the moment. So it's still, there's a lot of traders stuck in two minds. All right, that's probably as much as I want to go through today. We've gone through a bit. Like I said, if you've got any questions, feel free to send us an email to support@tradesetup.com.au. We'll be back on again tomorrow, chatting about the overnight markets. We'll see what happens today. Let me just see what the US is doing. So the Aussie US is still, well, look, US is potentially getting a bit heavier up here, which would say that maybe we're going to get some heaviness into the US. You know, all the markets are pretty much correlated to the US dollar at the moment, and what's happening, it's risk on. Everything's going the same sort of action. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Look at the Aussie. This is the SPY 200. Expect it to open higher just because everyone's in a bullish, frame set mindset. 59.58. We'll see if they can hold. I mean, if it flushes that out, I want a decent pullback. I don't want to just be sitting there thinking, oh, we'll get a little pullback and then we're going higher. I would rather see a decent pullback and be more constructive rather than just see, this action and then go. I'd rather see something, clean out a few, set for an afternoon rally into the close. That's what I'd ideally like to see. But we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, thanks very much for joining me. We're back on again tomorrow at 9:40. Have a good day. And like I said, any questions, feel free to email them through and have a bit of a look through the website. Cheers, guys. Bye.